Strip everything down to image, word, idea. Without narrative, it means nothing. This is MJ. I'm an author, I'm an artist, I'm an analyzer. Find all my work at mjmunoz.com. Welcome to Super Sentai Sanctuary. Join me as I analyze Avataro Sentai Donbrothers. I will be discussing what makes one heart better than another. This is analysis of Avataro Sentai Donbrothers Episode 4, the Onigiri Oni, according to Overtime anyway. It originally aired March 27, 2022. The writer is Toshiki Inoue. The director is Shojiro Nakazawa. And what else do I have to say? I'm going to be doing a creator spotlight today on I messed that up. Well, on the suit actor for Don Momotaro. But I will get back to that later. Instead, right now, I'm going to go over my negative, positive, and a couple other things before I talk about the main topic, which is this conflict of hearts, this clash of hearts, these rumbling hearts. That was actually an anime. It was about romance. Anyway, cool. It was decent. Anyway, moving on. So my first negative thing is padding. It feels like Inoue is doing a little bit of padding here, like he's drawing things out a little bit, like he's sort of slowly teasing things, and it's almost getting to the point where it's not enjoyable, because the issue is that things are being left hanging for the purpose of leaving them hanging, which is not something I like. It's a reason I dislike, in theory, the idea of mystery series, because, well, especially if the mystery is the subgenre, it's just basically leaving you with no information so that you're left guessing, and you're not really enjoying the mystery aspect of the show. It's more that you're just ignorant on purpose, and by purpose I mean the purpose of the writer and the creative team, so that you don't really know what's going on. But anyway, I'm feeling a little bit of padding here. I don't like it, but anyway, I'll deal. Anyway, I do have a bunch of positive stuff. So first thing is Inuzaka is really cool. I want his backstory. So we're not getting direct information on Inuzaka. Instead, we're getting just these glimpses of him and seeing what he's doing, which is basically just being the fugitive. So in that, it's pretty interesting. It's pretty cool, and my interest is piqued. I want to know more. I want to get the rest of the story. And fortunately, by the preview for the next episode, it looks like we will be getting Inuzaka's story next week. So that's pretty cool. Like, it's being set up, and I'm primed, and I'm ready for it, and then we're gonna get it. So it's like the timing is perfect. It's good pacing there. Tsuyoshi plus Miho, or and Miho, I really like the fact that we're getting to see a married couple, and that, she's not a ranger, she's not involved with any of this stuff, she's just his wife, and they have their relationship, and I like it. I really enjoy seeing this aspect of a character, and I like the fact that this is kind of like his secret thing, and she's not involved at all, and yet she's supporting him in his life, and he's supporting her in her life, basically. And it's just like a thing that's kind of done on the side, which is kind of a weird, it sounds bad for me to say it like that, but it's kind of how it is. They both have their own things that they're doing in their lives, but they come together as a couple, because that's what they are. They're a couple. They're newlyweds. They love each other, and they're basically saying to each other, like, hey, I'll do anything for love, or I'll do anything for you because I love you. And I just think it's so sweet, and I like the fact that there's like an established romance in the show, and like I can enjoy that, because I do like there being a romance in the show, but there's not going to be a love triangle, there's not going to be a build-up, there's not going to be a back and forth between them and any of the characters. It's just, hey, this is an established thing, and we get to see it a little bit. We get just a taste of the romance and the love, and that's it, and I like that. Moving on, there was no mech fight in this episode, and I like that, unless you want to count the little Peach as being a mech, which I don't think really counts. But anyway, yeah, there was no real mech fight in this episode, and I kind of dig that. It's neat. I think there was, I feel like there was one last episode. I remember one of my favorite Super Sentai series was Go Busters, and, well, is that fair? Had I watched more than 5? I don't know, I've watched a few, but still, Go Busters is in my mind, because in the first couple episodes they kept doing different things. They had different conditions for beating the enemies. They had some that didn't grow giant, so they avoided mech battles they did other different interesting things to keep it fresh and exciting for a while. Like the first maybe 10 to 12 episodes, it was really feeling good, and then it just kind of became a regular Super Sentai. So anyway, I wouldn't be surprised if something similar happens here, but just it's nice. It's nice while it's lasting. So next thing is Kiji Brother. Looked better this time. So I was really disappointed with how he's looked in the past, which you've heard before, but I don't know if I'm just getting used to seeing the full CGI character, and Inoue Brother looked good too, or Inu? Is it Inu or Inoue? I can't remember. Anyway, they both looked good, and I was surprised by that, but Inoue Brother looked better than Kiji Brother anyway in the past. I don't know if it's because he's smaller and more mascot-like, it's like cuter and just easier to take in by the eye or what, but yeah, Kiji Brother's grown on me, so I don't know if they're doing better work on it, if I'm more used to it, or if they did it in a more clever way. But when I say better work on it, I mean like they improved the 3D model, which I don't think they did. So anyway, I dig that. I guess I'll go into my reflections, and then I will talk about... I need to reorganize these notes a little bit better. Yeah, if you want to see notes on direction and writing specifically, then you can go ahead and go into the show notes and check those out. So I think I'm going to kind of leave it at that and go into my big discussion, because I don't want these episodes to be too long. If you really want them to be longer, let me know, and we can work something out. Anyway, you know, throw some Satoshis my way and I'll do it. Anyway, so moving into the reflections section of the episode, Tsuyoshi and Taro have... So I'm addressing the question about, you know, if one heart wants one thing and another heart wants something else, but both hearts are good, or both people who, you know, possess those hearts are good, but those things kind of conflict with each other, how do you deal with that? How do you determine who's right and who's wrong, and who gets to kind of set the agenda, I guess is what I'm asking. So that's in short form, and I'll now tell you in long form, you know, how I'm pondering this question and how I'm, you know, dealing with it. So here we go. Tsuyoshi and Taro have such different approaches to helping people, and probably to life in general. Taro is bold, direct, and self-assured. Tsuyoshi is timid, cautious, and unsure of himself. Taro is godlike, and Tsuyoshi is a frail man, or is, like, he represents frail man. Tsuyoshi pushes back against how Taro handles the rolling... so it's such a great name, rolling onigiri employees, by saying that Taro should placate and encourage them, even if it isn't true. Taro refuses to lie, not understanding why anyone would, because after all, as he said, spoken words are the voice of the heart. I wonder if that is a Japanese concept or not. I know it's biblical in some way. Messiah says it in Luke 6:45, that out of the overflow of the heart the mouth speaks. Anyway, but, you know, I'm questioning, is the heart as simple as it is being presented right now in this episode of this show? Are all hearts the same? Can a heart be conflicted? Let's look at the case of 3 hearts presented in this episode: Tsuyoshi, Mizuno, and Taro. So, let's see. Yeah, Tsuyoshi is this more timid person. He feels like he, you know, is an underdog or at a loss. You know, his boss doesn't like him, and he's kind of a peon. And that might be from his timidity. It might be from his lack of boldness, his lack of strength and courage. But at the core of it, or, you know, at his core, despite his frailty, or despite his failings, I should say, he has a good heart. He wants to see people protected. He wants to see people taken care of, to the point that he is throwing himself completely into this whole Donbrothers thing. He is being Kiji Brother because he can be, and he can protect people with that power. And all his timidity basically goes away once he transforms, and it's probably because it gives him an opportunity to do things that he can't do in his normal life, in his normal mode. And I find that to be very interesting. But you know, his job is to help these people, you know, through the consulting services, to improve themselves so that they can prosper and do well. And his concern is that by going hard, by approaching people the wrong way, and I believe this is related to his timidity in his like personal life, that by approaching people the wrong way, he will offend them, he will hurt them, he will drive them away, he will shut them down, and he will stop them from being able to grow and overcome their own failings and find a path to success. So that's Tsuyoshi. Mizuno has his heart set. You know, he's a businessman. Who knows if he has a family or not. He loves onigiri, apparently. He's passionate about it, so he's got this restaurant where he's making it. And it's a path to success for him. He is, well, see, we still don't know how people become attacked by these parasite monsters. The Hitsu... Oh gosh, Hitsu something or other. Hitsu no something, I think is what they're called. Anyway, we still don't know how people fall victim to those creatures, but we know that part of it is a greed. And, you know, greed is another side of love or desire or affection for something. And this guy has he has a love, a desire. This is a Persona 4 joke. He loves them balls. He loves those rice balls. You know, he loves making rice balls for people. And, you know, he's passionate about it enough that he would make it his business. Oh, man. Now I'm thinking back to... I got back into Tokusatsu back in like 2009, 2010. I was listening to RR, and they would make all sorts of dumb, perverted jokes, and I was just about to make one, but I'm not going to. Anyway, so the, you know, he's passionate about this. He wants to. He's enjoying at the request of what's the guy, Momotaro or Taro. He's going out and sampling other people who make onigiri. He's having their onigiri, and he's, you know, enjoying them, and he figures out the craft, and he figures out some technical things in his onigiri making that he was lacking, and he raises his onigiri from, I think Taro tells him he goes from like 80 something points to like 99 points. That's how he rates it. So I mean, that's an A, right? He should be happy with that. But whether it's due to his own desire to be better, whether it's due to his own desire to, well, whether it's from his own desire or if it's from a manipulation of this, you know, parasitic monster, he becomes incensed. He kind of loses his mind at the fact that Taro is able to make better onigiri than him, even though it's very possible that this guy's only been making onigiri for a few years versus Taro, who's been doing it for like, you know, 15 years or something like that, maybe 10, but anyway, since he was a kid. And this guy totally loses his mind and, you know, turns into this monster because he was seeking something and he was incapable, and he, you know, lashed out as opposed to going about the situation and rectifying his failing in another way. So, well, and part of what led him to that was the way Taro was content to not consider his feelings at all while he was trying to help this guy out. So I'll move on from Mizuno to talking about Taro. So Taro is perfect. I called him godlike because he is. He's got the godlike ability to do anything and everything very well, possibly the first time he tries it, or maybe it's just with effort. But we don't really get to know that distinction. But the point is that he is so good at doing all these things, and he wants to see other people do things as well as him, and he's willing to push them. Well, he's willing to not only push them, but also tell them how bad they are or that they are lacking and insufficient in these things. But he's doing that out of a good motivation, which is he wants them to improve and do better and to be the best that they can be. But he's not doing it in a way that will encourage most people to actually reach that goal. So, you know, he's not a perfect character because right there in that description of him, I've told you his flaw, which is he lacks the empathy, he lacks the consideration, he lacks the care, he lacks the ability to be tactful, to be gentle with people, so that he can ultimately bring them to the point where he wants them to be, which is this point of perfection or of strength and doing better, or thriving, or I don't know how quite to describe it, that he wants them to be at. So basically, it's like that meme, you know, do something, you know, step 1, step 2, you know, question mark, step 3, make lots of money. So he's like, you know, I'm gonna basically, you know, tell people they're no good and then expect them to be good or to be better, to improve without doing the missing thing. So, you know, his heart is pure, his heart is good, his intention is good, and he can show people the way to do things, but he can't sell them on it. He can't motivate them. He can't make them want to do those things and make them want to do better and to grow. And that's definitely a failing of his. So I think it's interesting that, you know, unbeknownst to myself, I ended up kind of not deconstructing his character, but analyzing him to the point where I now see that there is a critical flaw within him, despite the fact that he's perfect or so excellent in all these other ways. So that's actually throwing me off a lot, and I think I just derailed myself. I don't know how to do this, but I guess I can pivot to this. What's the thing? So yeah, that's going to be kind of an incomplete part of the process, or part of the episode, the analysis, because I can't really go on from there. So I'm going to pivot, and I was going to say, with all that being said, you know, what makes one heart better than another? I think I can still sort of answer that question, because it's not about the perfection of each individual character. Like, that doesn't really affect the overall question, the overall point, because the overall point still stands. If you have different people who want the same thing, but who go about it in different ways, and each of them is able to have success with certain parties, but maybe neither of them is able to have success with all parties, then is there some need for a fusion of the approach of these people by them working together that needs to be done? Because while Taro was able to save Mizuno from his monstrous form and restore him to the place where he can make onigiri for people and, you know, continue running his business and not be a monster, so that he can make people happy, I don't know that his employees would have stuck around. And it took the humble approach of somebody, well, Tsuyoshi being the guy, like lowering himself to the level of the employees, and with gusto joining them in their training to be, like, I think he was a novice as far as the things that he was having them do. And then he showed the humility of having his wife make lunch for them as well, to show, like, camaraderie. So, like, I guess my point was a little bit like, Tsuyoshi is like the everyman who gets alongside these guys and helps bring them to a point where they're improving, and they're wanting to be improved, and they're wanting to do better and to really apply themselves, versus Taro is like this pinnacle. He's like this paragon, and he's this exemplar. He's able to do everything that you want to be able to do, and he can do it better than you, but he wants you to do it to the best of your ability, and he'll push you and maybe inspire you by how good he is, but you don't get that, like, you don't make that connection. You see, I don't know, like, it's such a hard thing. And then again, what proves who's right? I don't know, because both approaches worked. Taro was able to ultimately save Mizuno. Like, he was able to inspire him, and then when the things went wrong, partly because of his own actions, sort of, he was able to deal with the consequences and resolve it for him, and enable him to go on and be, you know, the onigiri, the rolling onigiri, you know, master and operator, who will make people happy with his food, versus Tsuyoshi was able to, you know, get sweaty and work with these guys in order to, like, bring them up to the point where they cared. So I don't know, now I'm thinking about, these guys were apathetic, and Mizuno was, you know, over emphatic or like obsessed with it, like he cared too much. And that's something that's said by Jin, which is Peach Dad, that Taro cared too much, and he tried too hard to do things, and then ended up blowing up in his face and kind of ruining things and pushing people away from him. So I don't know, but still, going back one last time, and then I'm going to get out of here after the creator spotlight. Who is right? I don't think either person is inherently right in this situation. It's definitely not might is right. It's definitely not that if Taro was able to succeed in his approach, but Tsuyoshi was not able to succeed in his approach, that it would mean that one person is correct and the other person isn't, because there's another factor that's not being considered really, which is the people who they're helping. People who want to change need to like take ownership of that and do it themselves and go through the process, even though it's hard. And that's what's going to really, get them to be changed, get them to be saved, so to speak, and get them to be where they want to be, as opposed to where they find themselves, falling victim to something, or, whether that be a circumstance or an individual or whatever. They have to want to get out of that situation and change it, and then they need help from people as well before they can really get there. So anyway, I don't know, I'm just kind of rambling at this point. And I'm going to go ahead and move on. Like I said, there was writing and directing stuff I could talk about, but I'm not going to. You'll just have to check the notes for that. I'm going to go ahead and move on to the Creator Spotlight section, where I'm talking about Kosuke Asai, or probably Asai, who plays none other than Don Momotaro. He was born December 12th, 1983, which would mean that he's, 38 years old? About to be 39 years old. Yeah, it sounds right. Man, you guys are doing great. He was an actor he played a boyfriend, so stunt crew in episode 39 of Samurai Sentai Shinkenger. Then he was actually he was a substitute Red Ranger in Goseiger. He was Gosei Red. Then in Gokaiger, he played the monster form of Bosco, as well as some other characters, like a commander, I guess a monster from episode 27. He might have voiced him and not played the suit. I don't know, it's hard to tell. Then he was Gavon Type G, which is like the new young hip Gavon, who appeared in Gokaiger versus Gavon. And then I don't know if the Go Busters interacted with Gavon, but this heading makes it seem like he did, and that he appeared in there. But he was Cheetah Nick, which is kind of more important to Go Busters. Then after that, I can't tell when he became the main Red. I don't think it was in Kyoryuger, but it could have been. It might have been in Tokyuger, but I can't quite tell. The wiki says something about how he got injured and didn't get to play the main Red for there was a little bit of a break, and then he came back as Akaninja. So I think he was Akaninja in the first episode, or yeah, that's a little confusing to me. But he ended up being Akaninja from not Himitsu, because they're not hidden. Shuriken Sentai Ninja. So he did episodes 8 through 47 and beyond that. Then he was Zhuo Eagle, so the main Red. That's Yamato in Zhuoger. And then he was Lupin Red, which everybody who saw Lupin Ranger versus Power Ranger knows the Lupin Rangers were the bigger deal in that show. And then he was in Ryu Soldier as Yaba Sword, who I don't know who that was because I didn't watch the show. And he was and now it says he was somebody in Zenkaiger. Oh, he played himself. He played Don Momotaro in Zenkaiger. Duh. And then now he's Don Momotaro in Avataro Sentai Donbrothers. So anyway, that's kind of a shorter, quicker career. I only really know him from Lupin Ranger, which Lupin Ranger was fabulous. And I kind of did make mention when I was talking about Ryuta Tasaki, I think, and his directing style, how it is very dynamic and it moves a lot, and that's kind of what I define or remember Lupin Ranger for best. And you get a lot of the same really dynamic action and movement out of this show, and both of them have a director and Red Ranger in common. So I guess there's that. So I think I like this guy's work. Well, I have been talking all along about how I really dig Don Momotaro's movement and fighting style and performance, and even honestly just the fighting, or the laughing and the fanning himself are very iconic. So yeah, somebody decided that would be done, but then Kosuke did it. Kosuke Asai did it, and he's selling it, and he's doing a great job. So, and again, like I talked about in the very first episode, his movements inside of the cockpit of whatever the mecha that they have, Don Brother O or whatever it's called. Anyway, his movements in there are fabulous. And I know he's not operating the suit. I'm talking about him in the cockpit shots. He's doing a great job with those. They translate so well to what the mecha's doing. So anyway, yeah, I don't really have anything else to say. I'd love to hear your perspective on this. I know I went kind of off the rails trying to ask the question, like, you know, if hearts conflict with each other, you know, who's right, or how do you determine who's right, especially if they're all going towards the same good, virtuous, positive goal. But I'd love to hear some feedback on that. And yeah, I don't know what else. I mentioned in my general notes that Taro is like a Gary Stu, and I wonder if that's going to bother people at all. Being that this is Toshiki Inoue, if he's a self-insert character, that would be pretty hilarious. But I think he definitely has personality and his own character. It's not just a flat, you know, completely blank character that's, you know, fill in the blank for anybody watching to enjoy. So I mean, he's different. He's definitely got a certain flavor, and it's going to drive some people away, and it's going to attract others. So I guess I fall in the latter category. Anyway, I don't have much else to say, so I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. Thank you for your time and attention. Look for more coverage of Donbrothers, as well as all of my other analysis. You can find that all at the top of the website, mjmoonus.com. Check out the Odyssey. I'm on Float. I'm on MeWe. Of course, I've got the show posted up on YouTube as well. But, you know, the main site's the real important things, so to go check that out. You can find my writing as well as some of my artwork. I've drawn a Super Sentai team or two, I think, and a lot of tokusatsu involved or inspired stuff. So that's kind of my style. Anyway, with that all, I will be back next time, and until then, I leave you with peace and blessings. This is MJ signing out.